Hey, it's Randy at Funeral Funds of America. In this video, I'm going to share with you the actual pricing for $5,000 worth of burial, cremation, final expense, life insurance, or funeral funds for a 64-year-old male. Now, first thing I recommend is you go to our website at funeralfunds.com, and we've got these free quoters on just about every page. And all you need to do is just select the state that you live in. We are licensed in all 50 states. You select the coverage amount, birthday, put all that stuff in there. Hit click and get quotes now. It'll take you to a page that's going to show you all the best insurance companies with all the lowest rates that you can qualify for based off your age, gender, and the state that you live in. It's terrific. Take advantage of that. You can also call us at 888-862-9456. One of our licensed agents can help you understand your options and pricing. Now, one of the first things we recommend a 64-year-old male do is consider if $5,000 is going to be enough for their final expense needs. So that would depend on whether it was a cremation or a burial. So for cremation, you've got a few options. There's the first option is where you come home in a cardboard box or an urn. And that's going to cost typically between $1,000 to $2,000 right around now. And if you're going to have some sort of a service or ceremony, like a remembrance of life or celebration of life ceremony in addition to the cremation, probably around $3,500 to $4,500, just depending what part of the country you're living in. But as far as how much coverage, that's going to differ as well. So when you do that cremation where you're just coming home in a cardboard box or an urn, most people we help would get around $5,000 to $7,000 worth of coverage. Now, you might be saying, well, Randy, if the cremation's $2,000, why are we getting $5,000 worth of insurance? Well, the thing is our 64-year-old male probably wants to make it to 74 and possibly 84. And we want to build up some extra coverage in there to adjust for a cost of inflation because we know that prices increase as time goes on. So we're just inflation proofing the plan by getting a little bit more coverage than we actually need right now. Also, if you were to die sooner than anybody expected, there's also some extra money up front that can be used to pay for other miscellaneous expenses, like maybe medical bills or credit card bills or something like that. Expenses that you would have paid off given the gift of time, but you didn't live that long. So it works really terrific. It inflation proofs the plan. Long-term, short-term provides some extra money. Now, if you're going to do that cremation where there's going to be some sort of a ceremony as well, too, most people would go between $7,000 to $10,000. Again, that inflation proofs the plan by providing extra money later in life, but it also helps you on the front end, just providing some extra coverage just to pay some of those unexpected bills. Now the average cost of a burial right now in the United States is right around $10,000. Now, that's not going to be anything fancy, but it's hard to imagine you couldn't, go to just about any funeral home with a $10,000 check and they wouldn't make it work. It wouldn't be anything fancy. It'd be very simple, but they should be able to make it work. It's hard to imagine they would say no and let you walk out the door and walk down the street 2 blocks to their competition and give them the money. But just understand, $10,000, that's what the cost of a burial is kind of right now. And we know that pricing will go up over time due to inflation. So most people would look at somewhere between 10, 15, and 20,000 for a 64-year-old male. Now, if you're looking at a $5,000 policy like we're talking about in this video, why would you be doing that? Well, a lot of people have some existing insurance. Maybe they had 5,000 or 7,000 or 10,000, and that was enough when they got their policy. And now they're just looking at adding a little extra coverage just to get a little bit more because of inflation. Prices have increased. So we help quite a few people with that. So if you just want to add coverage to a policy, we can certainly help you out with that. But yeah, just probably for a 64-year-old male, burial is going to be 10,000, 15, 20,000, somewhere in that range. You can choose off numbers as well too. Now, sometimes somebody will say, hey, I want to take care of my final expenses, but I want to leave some money behind for my kids too. And they'll say, well, what is it, like 30, 40, or 50,000? And we share the rates with them, say, for example, 50,000. And they go, oh, that's more than I can afford. I'm just not going to do anything then. And we just have to remind them that they actually came to us first because they wanted the final expenses taken care of. And if you don't take care of those, then that by default goes to your children and loved ones, most of the time of which they're going to have to put that on credit cards at 26% interest. So don't, gosh, we just have to have conversations. Do you really want to do that? So what we actually recommend is, get the final expenses taken care of first. And then if you want to, at some point in the future, add extra coverage for the kids, we can do that at that time too. But don't just look at it and go, man, if I can't do everything, I'm not going to do anything at all. Because what that means is the kids and your family members are going to have to, again, pay for this, put it on their credit cards, 26% interest, probably going to take years and years and years to pay off. Yeah, so just plan accordingly. We can certainly help you out with that. One thing we always do recommend is getting first day coverage or benefits. We do not recommend those plans that have 2-year waiting periods. No, we don't. We'll talk about that in a minute. But what first day coverage means is that hypothetically, if your policy were issued and approved today and you died tomorrow, the insurance company would have to write out that check for $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, $20,000, $25,000, whatever the coverage amount is. So that's the best coverage, and it's going to have the lowest pricing as well. Now, sometimes people will say, you're right, Randy, I do want that first day coverage, but you know what? I'm worried. I'm not in the best of health. And I hear those first day coverage plans ask health questions, and I'm worried they may not qualify. And we always say, hey, that's our responsibility. That's our worry, not your worry. And the reason we say that is because we work with very many different insurance companies, and they all have different health questions. They all have different underwriting requirements. And right now, we've got a rate about 95% of the time we're getting people first day coverage or benefits. So we're terrific at what we do. Really, the only reason you wouldn't qualify for first day coverage is if you just waited too long and you had some really significant health issues, like, maybe you had a terminal illness and you're going to die in 12 months, or you had dementia, or you're on dialysis, or in a hospital, or in a nursing home. If something like that was taking place, then we would typically refer you out to a different insurance company to help you out with that. Another thing that seems to happen on a weekly basis is somebody will call up and say, hey, we had a family member pass away. They didn't have any insurance. We don't have any money. Their body's down at the funeral home. The funeral home director's not going to do anything till he gets paid. So we need to get this insurance really quick so we can get a check from the insurance company to get the funeral home guy paid. We have to let these people know that, unfortunately, there's no insurance company out there in the United States that's going to issue a policy to a dead person. You actually have to be alive to qualify for this insurance. And it's really sad they lost a family member, but it's doubly sad that they didn't have this insurance. They knew they were going to die someday. They probably looked at this insurance 1, 2, 3, 4 times, and they just kept putting it off. And then one day they just went and died. Now their family's got to pay for this. Chances are they're going to have to put it on credit cards. 26% interest, be paying on it for years and years and years. Terrible legacy to leave behind. You could have done everything else right in life, and then you messed up this one last thing, and everybody will remember you as the person who left the bills behind. So don't do that. This insurance is affordable. Gosh, we can help you start small, and you can always add more coverage. We are very flexible. Let us help you leave that wonderful legacy behind, not a legacy of debt and expenses. Now, one thing, as I mentioned earlier, we don't recommend is the plans with 2-year waiting periods. Colonial Penn, in case you didn't know this, their $9.95 plan has a 2-year waiting period. Ouch. Yeah. You probably didn't know that. But yeah, Colonial Penn's not the only company that does that. There's other companies, Mutual of Omaha, their United of Omaha line, AIG, Gerber, gosh, just so many other different companies. And a lot of these companies have done amazing jobs of convincing the American public that if you're over age 50, the only thing you're going to qualify for is a plan with a 2-year waiting period, to which we always say, don't believe such nonsense, because we help people with first aid coverage all day long. Yes, we do. Now, so, our 64-year-old male, he is probably just got done watching the Colonial Penn 995 commercial. He's probably thinking, you know what? I'm 64 and that commercial looked pretty encouraging. I'm probably going to get $20,000, $30,000, $40,000. Oh, perhaps even $50,000 for only $9.95. I am so smart. I outsmarted Colonial Penn. And then he actually talks with a Colonial Penn agent, or goes on their website and looks at the pricing like we're doing for you right now, and sees that a male age 64 for 1 unit of coverage, $9.95, that's only going to buy our male age 64 $949 worth of coverage. Now, I don't even think that's enough to pay for a cremation in just about any part of the country. And even if it was, it wouldn't matter because it's got a 2-year waiting period and it wouldn't pay out anyway in the next 2 years for any health or medical related cause of death. So yeah, why would you ever get a plan that is so woefully inadequate and you get sucked with a 2-year waiting period? Yeah. So, some people would say that companies that offer really low teaser rates, they actually don't even want to sell you that low coverage plan, right? They don't want to do that because it's so small. They just want to do that to get your attention and get your information and get you plugged into their marketing funnel so that they can talk with you on the phone and show you how minimal that coverage is and then try talking you into more coverage that's more profitable for them. Now, I would never say that Colonial Penn would ever do anything like that, but some people are convinced of that. And you might want to just make your own judgments based on the fact that $9.95 is only going to get you $949. So let's take a look. We want to get around 5,000 because that's what this video is about. So we're going to have to be 6 units, I believe. Yeah. So because 5 units would be under 5,000. So here we go. 6 units is going to pay out $5,694, be around $60. You can't get a 64-year-old male cannot get $5,000 on the nose. Other insurance companies do that, but Colonial Penn, their $9.95 plan sells insurance by unit, not by coverage amount. So it's kind of frustrating. That's why a lot of times you end up with these really wackadoodle numbers like 5,694. Yikes. But let's do this. Let's take a look at first day coverage and see if we can save you money. I know we can. So let's do this. Let's take a look at what first day coverage would be for $5,000. So if we go right here, we've got $5,000 for a male, age 64. And we're going to get the quote button here. Let's go back and take a look here just to make sure. Again, this is around $5,000 for $5,500-ish for around $60. We can get $5,000 for $2,687, roughly $27. Again, I want to show you that's $5,000. So, yeah, I mean, what would you rather have? Would you rather have $5,000 for $26.87, or would you rather have $5,694 for like almost 200% more? No, it is 200% more for $59.70, basically $60. And we see that consistently that Colonial Penn is generally right around 200% higher, 200% more expensive than our first day coverage plan. So Colonial Penn's about $27 more a month than first day coverage. So if we take $27 a month times 12 months, that's roughly $408 more a year that you would overpay. If our male age 64 made it to age 74, you would pay roughly $4,080 more on a $5,000 policy. Ouch, right? That's why it's so important to be a smart shopper. Really, I mean, this is level coverage, which means first day coverage. Why wouldn't you want to pay less, like over $4,000 less, get first day coverage? I don't know. We feel that, you're better off keeping that $4,000 in your own pocket, keep that in your own bank account rather than having that $4,000 going into the bank account of the insurance company. Yeah, it makes no sense. Keep that money in your pocket. Be a smart consumer. If you're not a smart consumer, as far as this insurance goes, that's okay. Let us help you be a smart consumer. That's what we help people with all day. Let's go down and take a look at some other companies here. You'll be able to see all these different companies as well. But let's try to find one. Well, here's one, Lincoln Heritage. They're a fine company, I guess, but look at that pricing. Yeah, that's more. Why is that? We'll talk about that. But it is level coverage. But yeah, it's more expensive because they've got a deal where when you pass away, they will supposedly call 2 or 3 different funeral homes, maybe do a couple other things to make things go a little easier. But they charge a premium for that. That's not free. They do it. It's basically $35 versus $26. So Lincoln Heritage is about $9 more a month. And you go, well, that's not that big of a deal if they're going to call a couple funeral homes and do some other stuff, but it adds up. So $9 a month times 12 months is $108 roughly. If our 64-year-old male makes it to age 74, 10 years, you have overpaid Lincoln Heritage right around $1,080. So you got to ask yourself, is it worth overpaying an insurance company over $1,000 roughly for them to make 2 or 3 phone calls, maybe do a couple other things that may only take an hour or so to do? A lot of people would say that's a pretty good hourly rate. You know, right? $1,000 an hour. So we just recommend you keep that money in your own pocket. Don't give that to an insurance company. We recommend going with the lower price, and we can help you get approved for that. And then what we do is we offer a free funeral and estate planning guide. You just download that off our website, print it out. Once it's printed out, then you just fill it out. You write down who gets what goes where, and what you want to happen after you're gone. And then you keep that with your insurance policy. And then when you pass away, everything's all in one place. Your family finds the insurance policy, and they're going to know that you protected them financially. And then they're going to find the funeral and estate planning guide, and they're going to know that you protected them emotionally. Because all they need to do is open up that funeral and estate planning guide and start reading it, and then just fulfill your wishes. Just execute your wishes. And they will know at that moment that you not only protected them in life, but you actually protected them that one last time in death, exactly when they would need you the most, when you weren't around to help them out there. And that's exactly what your policy and funeral and estate planning guide will do. What a wonderful gift of love to leave behind. What a wonderful legacy. And if you want to have that legacy, go to funeralfunds.com. We've got a special quarter for our YouTube viewers, funeralfunds.com/YouTube, where you can check out the best companies at the lowest rates, specifically for our viewers. It's terrific. Take full advantage of that. You can go to 888-862-9456, and one of our agents can help you or answer any questions you have. But if you've got an existing policy and you want to see if we can help you price shop that to get lower premiums, or you want to add coverage to it, we can help you out with that. If you're looking for a brand new policy or just need some questions answered or want some help with a policy, we can help you out with that. But we look forward to that day when we can help you get the most amount of insurance for the least amount of money. We will be blessed to help you with that at some point in the future. Until that day comes, you stay safe, you take care, you have a nice day. Bye-bye.